Wow, fantastic. I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. So nice to see the work, Christine. I'd love to know, maybe walk us through the length of production time just to actually record that and put that entire piece together.
It took, well, we recorded it in a day, and my middle son did the filming.
Right.
My youngest son did the sound, like held the sound for me. So it was a family event that we did. And then I had someone who's a professional help edit the piece. So it took I don't know how you combine. It happened over about a month's time, but condensed time. It took I did all of the shots in one day, in one afternoon, and then just the editing time. So
did you go and sort of scope the different areas or locations, and how did you plan that?
Yeah, well, this is like one of my go-to spots that I like to hang out myself. So it's kind of like one of my special places here on Bear Island, and there's a lot of bedrock here, and I really like rock face, and I just find rock and trees. It's just so like the setting that I was in. But I did find as I was dancing there, then I look in the space that I'm in, and I utilize what's around me. And I do like how it's imperfect. I like raw and kind of edgy approaches and looks of things. So I don't like things to be perfect. I found like at the end, I actually went into a log, like right into right into the ground. So that was kind of neat. I didn't know that emptied out log was there until I was dancing around it and went inside there. So yeah, anyways.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I had a question. We had a question, and please, everybody, use the chat function if you can. If you have any comments or any questions you'd like to ask while we're here with Christine. But Jess wrote in and asked if you could just speak to the soundtrack. How did you do that? What was your decision process? How did you did you approach it?
Well, I've been working with my sound designer, Rob Bertola, for over 20 years. So this is music that's been accumulated through a library. So there's a lot of artists that are on there that, I pay a credit to. Eddie Robertson, Gabe Gaudet, Tashina Sarrazin. There is a little bit of also sound like that we pulled out from some old music, like from 20 years ago. So that's actually one of my favorite parts of creation is doing the soundtrack. So it's very like earth. I kind of him and I have a really good relationship. Like we've known each other for so long, and he's does sound design for like feature films. So he's more in that film world. So when him and I get a chance to work together, he finds it very creative, and he's so gifted. He has his own studio. So we really, I create the sound. So especially for live theater, so you could close your eyes and just enjoy the journey with the sound. So I like the music to be that impactful. So
right.
Yeah, I think the sound's really important.
It works so well. So you didn't layer the soundtrack over top of the dance piece. It happened simultaneously.
It did. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's a unique approach.
Yeah.
Sounded it. Yeah, I think it worked really, really well. So, I wanted to also sort of talk to you a little bit more just about Indigenous contemporary dance. Mm-hmm. And as a dancer and a professional dancer for so many years, do you think that that art form is expanding? You think there's more opportunities, more possibilities for Indigenous contemporary dance artists now? I mean, obviously, with our Grand OnStage program, our dance audience would know. We've had, Sandra was here with Red Sky, and Santi Smith, of course, with Kahawi Dance Theater, and some great stuff on the West Coast that's happening. I think Raven Spirit Dance.
Yep.
What have you sort of seen over the years of your profession, and where do you think that's headed?
Yeah, so I started my career in 1992, and more so, I started it with this show called In the Land of Spirits. And back then, there wasn't very many like Indigenous contemporary dance artists. I come from a classical background, so I started off into my professional career with a mainstream company, DeRosier Dance Theater, and then I went more into uh, uh, you know, I went to a Banff center where we started to have what was at that time called the Aboriginal Dance Program, and that was in 1995. So I've seen a lot. I used to always feel like it was like really grassroots, our kind of contemporary Indigenous dance scene, and I kind of pulled away from it for a bit. I went to I've had three boys, so I went to raise my boys, and I was in another community, still dancing and teaching and creating, but not really in the scene of things. And when I went back into the scene, I saw that there was there was like a mainstream dance, Indigenous dance scene, and then the grassroots. So there was kind of two things going on. But through the years, it's an incredible how many artists are now really flourishing. In our community. And I think it's really great to, not that also to recognize that we are as unique as the landscape that we come from. So just because you see an Indigenous contemporary dance artist, we're so unique. So you can't really, even the word Indigenous, like I more so consider myself like Anishinaabe, or like we're also really, it's almost like the language, or like saying Aboriginal, or just kind of putting us all into a pot. Like there's so many special gifts with so many different people that are representing who they are and where they come from and the spirit of that. So I think there's a lot of diversity in our Indigenous dance community. So I think
Sure.
that's just amazing to recognize and to uphold that, and to support each other, uniqueness as well. So I really connected to rooted like community activators. That's kind of what I like to do, and who I seem to surround myself in those kind of circles. So yeah, like inspiring young people, inspiring to dance. I remember seeing that, even like seeing somebody dance before and looking at them, like when I was in ballet and I saw this Margie Gillis actually, and when I saw her on stage, I was like, oh, you're allowed to move like that? Like, I
Hmm.
had no idea that you could be so wild and crazy and dynamic. And so, yeah, it's really about inspiring one's truth, one's uniqueness. And yeah, and I wish that for all races of people. So, yeah.
It's wonderful. We have another question that's come in,
Okay,
which is
great.
wonderful.
Yeah.
The question is, how does dancing on your home territory inform and strengthen your artistic process? This came in from Jenny.
Yeah. Hi, Jenny. That's thank you for asking that, because that's really a really big part of, for me, about walking in truth and reasserting my connection to the land, to help heal my family, to help heal our people. For me, dance is a big part of moving energy. And I was so, looking forward to kind of settling in, even though I come back home like in the summer times and in the winter, but I'm home all year round. And I was really like looking forward to being home and being in that place of inspiration. It's actually really powerful because I have really strong dreams. Like I live a life away from drugs and alcohol. So and the reason why I do that is to walk in my own truth, and also to not be afraid of my own power and my own gifts. And so what's happening with me becoming back home and dancing on the land and dancing in these places is I'm actually able to help move energy. And also it's just like the channels are clearer, and I'm able to do my work a lot more effectively, I feel. And then a lot of amazing things happen to me, like serendipity, and all kinds of stuff are coming, and I'm able to move and speak a voice of my ancestors, really. So, and just to really promote that, us as Anishinaabe people, that we are very much alive and well in this present day. Like, we are not something from the past. We're here. We made it through genocide. We made it through so much oppression, and the power. Like, sometimes I say that with my boys, like, we look where we are, like, we made it, and they feel that too, that power and that intensity, and also to know who you are and where you come from, and to be on that land and territory is really a gift, and it's something that I give thanks to every day. So
Fantastic. We have a couple questions left. We're running short on time. I feel like we're just scratching the surface, Christine. I feel like we could talk for hours. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the Cultural Creation Center that you're working on and that project.
Yes.
I mean, it's such a significant undertaking for that community. And maybe you could just touch on that for us.
Yeah, so this is a lifelong dream, and this is it's a cultural creation center that will be married with an outfitters company. So there'll be artists will be able to, or people will be able to come to the space and either pick like an isolated or semi-isolated adventure. So kind of like choose your own adventure, whether you go on an outpost camp or a day trip, and then up here, like on Lake Temagami, and then create art in the space. And this space is really going to be promoted for young people, for artists, to create a safe space to create work. There'll be a studio that can transform into like an in the round or a traditional theater, which will be, for sitting 50 people. I'll have a recording studio for sound, and a film editing suite as well, and then a hot yoga studio. I'm a yoga instructor. And then that place can also be for a creative space for young people, and and a space to eat and feast and do ceremony, and so
Wow. What do you think the timeline is on that project?
Well, I received, it took me 2 years to submit an application to Canadian Heritage, and I received the funding to do a feasibility study. So I'm able to work with a consulting company to do this feasibility study, which will happen. It's already began right now, and we hope to have this done by about midwinter, and then start to put in the application and the business plan for this space. So it's not a multi-million-dollar, it's about $1 million space, but very simple, but what's really effective is what's going to be happening inside of that. And then also partnering with Anamatagzi, which is very good friends of mine, Sid, Bob, and Penny Cucci in North Bay, Nipissing area, and then working with Dabajamajig Theatre as well. Sure. So circulating programming through that and with those groups. So yeah, I feel like I could spend the rest of my life here in Northern Ontario and here in Thunderbird Shield or the Canadian Shield. This is really where I want to devote my life and my livelihood. So
that's wonderful. Yeah. Well, I've got a final question here that's come in from one of our big dance supporters, and the question was, what is Wasagachuk? And you mentioned that in passing, and also, does it provide a chance to experience more of your work, and are there other Indigenous artists to look for? And that came in from Colin, so thank you, Colin.
Yeah, it's actually, so that's with the Native Earth Performing Arts, and if you go to their website right now, they have their layout of the festival, and so this is a really important festival for our Indigenous community to promote and to take risks, because it's a new creation, and I'm actually so excited for this one. I'm going to be presenting a work called Firewater, Thunderbirds Rising, and it's actually a dark piece. If you like this soundtrack that you heard with Maggie and Me, this one is going to blow your mind. So I can't wait to share this piece, and I really like it because you don't have to be. I was saying before, like, I'll never be polished. Like, my work is always moving and always, kind of changing. It's never, it's not like a ballet where, okay, you've mastered something. So it's always It's always going to be raw, and always going to be evolving. That's the word I'm looking for. So what's exciting about Wasagi Chuck is that I guess it's kind of like expecting the unexpected. And as an artist, you can take risks. And for me, I'm just a lot of this piece I actually will be filming outside. And now that, the leaves are gone and it's a little colder, like last week it snowed. I was like, oh no, I'm going to have to dance in the snow, but then it got warm. So I might just luck out, but it's kind of like, there's no leaves on the trees now. And it's kind of like an eerie, spook, it's like a different time. So I really, look forward to presenting the work that I'm going to be doing both on the 25th of November, I believe. But all the information's on the website there to stay connected to that festival.
Yeah, it is fabulous. I've been fortunate to attend the festival a couple of times. And just what you say, as far as risk-taking, new works, outstanding sort of young, rising Indigenous artists, it really is, it is the festival to attend. And it's going to be interesting this year being, of course, due to COVID, all digital and online. So it's going to be fascinating to see how Keith Barker and his team work to kind of reimagine that whole festival experience through the digital medium. But that's great that you're going to have some work there, and so our viewers will have a chance to. You can go to Wasagi Chuck online and see more of Christine's fabulous talent in a couple of weeks. So it's coming up fast. Yeah,
it's coming up fast. This is the one too where I'm not. Because I guess there's like no holding back anymore. So I'm just really putting some things out there that I've always wanted to put out there. So I'm really, I'm excited to dive into. I'm in it right now. So yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. I think we kind of have reached our time, but thank you so much for the effort that you've put into the production of Maggie and Me for us here at Grand OnStage, Christine. It's been a real pleasure getting to know you, and I think we're going to have some other opportunities to work together in the future. And I hope some point when we have shows back at the Grand Theatre, we'll have a chance to see you on our main stage, which I know our audience now having a chance to get to know you, will take advantage of that. But thanks again. Take care of yourself, Miigwech. And
Miigwech,
yes. I will. I look forward to speaking with you soon.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us for another Grand OnStage virtual presentation. We have a number of these coming up over the next few months. Each performance or each production is going to be different. We have some theatrical works coming up. We have some more dance. We have some great music that's going to be announced very soon. Each one will involve pre-recorded content, some live content, some artist interaction. So it's always going to be an exciting and unique streaming experience from the comfort of your home. But until then, please be safe. Make sure you distance and take care of yourself. And please fill out the survey, because we will be sending surveys after each of our online presentations. And your feedback is critical to helping us improve what we're doing online until we can meet again here at the Grand Theatre. But until then, thank you very much and have yourself a good night.